So for many of us, we've all experienced this probably where we gather so much information because we think, well, it's necessary, right? I have to have all this information and all of these infos so I know, well, I'm making the right decision. And yeah, sure, there's some truth to that. I'm not going to lie to you. But also, there's a difference between getting the necessary information and just gathering information for the sake of it because it gives you a feeling of only when you have the right information, then you can take action. And for many, we fall into this category where we think we need to first gather all of the important stuff before it makes sense to get started. But this is where procrastination likes to sneak in, and it likes to, I guess you could say, take its control over, where you start making certain excuses. You start saying, oh, I cannot get started with this yet because I don't have the necessary data about this. What if I do this and this wrong? Let me first make sure I have everything and then I'll get started. And then it never happens because then another excuse piles up and then another one and then another one. And it keeps going on like that. And this is for many things in life, not just making important decisions when it comes to, let's say, business, but also when it comes to your health, when it comes to your relationships, or just general daily things. If you always feel like you cannot take action or take that step because you still need that necessary component to it, you'll never get started. It's simple as that. It's as simple as that. And when you start to observe more and more from a lot of the, let's say, great thinkers or artists even too, they mostly started with the bare minimum. They just had the things to somehow get things going and they made the best out of it. And this is what I want to speak about here too. That instead of feeling like you need to gather more and more for it to be good, that you're able to actually make the most out of what you already have. And I know this sounds so like something our mothers would tell us, but there's truth to it. When we start to become more content and satisfied with what we already have and see, well, how can I work with this? It's like a new world opens up for us where new things can present themselves and we have clarity of, oh, I didn't even think of this, but now I know what this is, so let me see how can I move on from here. I mean, that's what I figure out when it comes to business and stuff too. We go through the first step, and based on that first step, we might trip a little bit, sure, but we get the necessary information through experience, and then we see, okay, so right now I need to set up payment processing. Okay, well, what do I need to figure out here? And then you do your research, get the necessary information to get up and running. Cool, now that's done. Then you think, how can I then set up payment processing so it's easier for people who are in different countries and stuff, Are you going to do it in dollar, euro, whatever? You get the point. It's taking step-by-step action, and then when it's necessary, gathering the information, not to figure out everything, but just to know what is that next step. What is that next step? And then you can take that next step, and through the experience itself, you will gather information and know, okay, so I did this, and now comes this, and then this. And so the pattern goes on. So being content with what you already have and making the most out of it, it allows you then to create anything really. Like if you think about it, a person who needs all of this stuff to first get started are so dependent on this to where they have, I guess you could say, a higher chance of failure because they're putting all of their dependency on this source. Whereas the other person who, let's say, doesn't have much of the things going on, he doesn't have much of the information, but he's just doing things step by step, he depends fully on just him taking action. And so which one has more control? Which one has more control of the outcome? This individual more. So what I found to work is really just making it harder for yourself in that sense, and doing so by simply saying, okay, I have this right now. I want to achieve this thing with what I have right now. How will I get there? How will I make this work out even just 1% closer to that goal? Because that's still better than 0%. And when you start to kind of see more and more what you have, you start to appreciate it more too. You realize, you know what? I'm actually grateful for what I have. I'm capable of doing all of these things. Someone else doesn't have these resources. And one is able then to kind of move more with a state of groundedness. You're grounded in your decisions and your processing as well, pretty much. And so it allows you to make sure you make aligned decisions. Not just any decisions or logically correct decisions, but truly decisions where you can say, this feels aligned. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to build. Even if the conformity of people say this shouldn't be like this, it should be different, you just do it, it's going to turn out better. Maybe you make a mistake, sure, but you learn from it, and then we do that same process again of seeing, okay, what necessary information do I just need for this one single step, and that's it. And then you keep going. It's about being open with making, I guess you could say, decisions that go against the status quo. Decisions that no one will really understand, but only you do. And with that, use your resources to your fullest capability. And watch everything starts to open up. It won't happen overnight, of course, we know that, but you'll start to see the more you start to live day by day with not trying to figure out everything, but just focusing on this step by step, you'll realize there's less pressure and more capability and mental availability, especially, to focus on the things that actually matter. And this is what my Operator OS framework is too. It's allowing you to, I guess you could say, decouple from all of the, let's say, BS in that sense. That you have taken on all of the worries, all of the mental blocks in that sense too. And allowing yourself to see, okay, where are you currently now? Where do you actually want to go? Or how does it look like? And how can you actually start living that? And my Operator OS framework simply takes all of that, puts it into one, and so one can fully see for themselves, well, what can we make out of this, you know? But yeah, either way, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful day and that you enjoy this video here too. And let me know down below. Let me know down below how this was able to help you, what you were able to take from this. And as I said, if you're interested in working together and seeing how one can apply my framework to your life, to whatever it is that you're currently going through, then down below you can find my link to my calendar and you can find a fitting time for you. But either way, my friend, have a wonderful day, stay safe, and always remember, remain in truth. Much love, my friend.